Yo, what is going on, guys? Mama's back at it again with another video. Today's video, we're gonna talk about signs that you're gonna outgrow your parents. In terms of height, of course. Because what else do we talk about on this channel, right? If you guys like this video, please make sure you subscribe, turn on the notification bell, like, comment, and share, because we're almost at 20,000 subscribers. And my goal is to get to 20,000 before the end of this year. That'll be really, really nice. But even if we don't, oh well, I'll still be making content, so don't worry about it. Now, to understand how you can grow taller than your parents, we have to understand what makes you grow taller. Aspect number one, of course. You grow taller by eating good food, eating nutritious food, as well as sleeping well, having a set circadian rhythm preferably, and also exercising. High intensity exercises like team sports, basketball, soccer, all of that good stuff. So yeah, these are pretty much all the relevant points that's gonna make you taller. So with that being said, sign number one is gonna be you having much better nutrition than your parents. Now, this is usually the case if your parents come from like a developing country and you've migrated to a developed country. So you have a lot more access to more nutritious food easily. When your parents were still living in the developing country, they probably, chances are they didn't have access to as much protein as you did. Now, even in some developed countries, the older generation, the baby boomers, the Gen X, the millennials, which are most likely your parents' age, your parents' generation, they probably didn't take nutrition as seriously as this generation is taking nutrition to be. As well as height. Height back then wasn't as important as nowadays, especially with social media and everything, inflating everything. So obviously every parent wants their kid to be taller, right? So they'll be feeding you better food, and yeah. So you should have better nutrition than your parents. That's what I'm trying to say. Point number two, following up from the previous point, if your parents come from a developing country, they most likely did not have access to high intensity impact sports such as basketball and soccer. If you have access to these sports and your parents didn't, your bones will probably be placed under more stress than your parents did, and that would make you taller, obviously. Now for this one, even if you guys did come from developed countries, you can still ask your parents if they played basketball, if they played soccer as a child, to see their levels of activity, and then therefore you can determine whether or not you're gonna outgrow your parents in terms of this variable. Point number three. Well, obviously not everything is gonna be against your parents' generation, and therefore point number three is sleep. In my opinion, your parents probably had better sleep than you did, and so did I, because back then there was a lack of technology across developing countries and developed countries. So less technology will mean that there's less temptation to stay up late at night, and therefore they probably had better sleep than we did. So yes, my third point is gonna be how well you can replicate your parents' sleeping conditions. Yeah, I don't think that made much sense, so let me repeat myself. How well you can sleep despite the distractions of technology. So how much technology you're using, pretty much. Think about it this way. If you keep using a lot of electronics, technologies, stuff like that, well, obviously you're gonna have a harder time sleeping, right? Because all the electronic stuff's gonna be like in your eyes, making you keeping you awake and stuff. But if you didn't use much technology growing up, then yeah, this variable would have been constant with your parents. And combining the other two variables that I talked about, which is nutrition and exercise, then you should be able to grow taller than your parents. I hope this all makes sense. So to sum everything up, sign number one is you're gonna have much better nutrition than your parents, whether that's because you've come from a developing country or your parents just doesn't care as much about nutrition when they were younger. Point number two is that you're gonna have played a lot more team sports, high impact, high intensity sports than your parents did. Sign number 3, while keeping the above 2 signs consistent, you limit your electronic technology use. Cool, let's summarize today's video. So, personally for me, I think one of my biggest factors is that I did have much better nutrition than my parents did, because my dad had really poor nutrition growing up, and my mum did as well, unfortunately, because we did come from China, and one of the poorer areas of China as well. Now, even if you're from developed countries, even if your parents are from richer areas, you shouldn't be too concerned, because I think with the information we have nowadays, with technology, you can pretty much look up this information very easily, and that should be able to help you to grow taller than your parents, regardless of where you come from. And finally, just because you're gonna outgrow your parents, it doesn't mean you're gonna grow to 6 foot. Okay, that's just the unfortunate fact, because genetics does play a limiting factor. For example, if your parents are 5 foot and 5 foot and 5'2", you're not just gonna magically grow to 6 foot. So limit your expectations, but keep in mind you can still outgrow your parents, which is a good sign. You're setting up your next generation for to be even taller. And with that being said, we have come to the end of another Mau Mau's video. So I'll see you guys next week. Peace.